Dear comrades, in this year, as we commemorate 80 years since the victory over fascism, we are simultaneously confronted with the consequences of counter-revolutionary process in Eastern Europe, as well as the aggressive policies of Western imperialism against all progressive, sovereign and socialist countries around the world. The decommunization process in Eastern Europe has led to the disintegration of socialist states and the loss of their sovereignty. This policy has led invented traditions and the rewriting of history, widespread inversion in which victims are turned into oppressors, freedom fighters into criminals, and criminals into heroes. The Serbian people, alongside other Yugoslav nations and the leadership of the communists, led the largest anti-fascist resistance movement in occupied Europe. This historical experience teaches us that even an underground party of only 7,000 members was able to recognize the dialectical moment and rally the masses. Unfortunately, during the counter-revolutionary upheavals and the destruction of socialist Yugoslavia by Western imperialism, our country, at the behest of the European Union, embarked on a path of decommunization during its accession process of the prison of nations, the EU, where the rich grow richer and the poor became even poorer. In the context, Serbia has not been spared from the fate of historical revisionism, much like the other Eastern European countries already or seeking EU membership. Nevertheless, despite the anti-popular nature of Serbia's current government and its policy of EU integration, Western imperialist pressure continues unabated because Serbia has not been fully subdued. Serbia remains outside of both the EU and NATO and retains more sovereignty than many other European nations. As a result, under Western dictate, a military alliance has been formed between Croatia, Albania, and the occupied part of Serbia territory, the failed state of Kosovo. It's clear that this alliance is directed against the Serbia. Pressure is mounting on Serbia for not imposing sanctions on Russia, and the Serbian president is under EU scrutiny for deciding to attend the Victory Day celebration in Moscow on May 9th. In Serbia today, protests are being restricted by the liberal opposition, which criticizes the current government not for its subversiveness to Brussels, but for not being even more submissive in enforcing anti-popular neoliberal policies dictated by the EU. True, there is a genuine dissatisfaction among the people. It has been misdirected in the past 6 months, ultimately leading to the fall of the Serbian government. The new so-called expert government has continued the same anti-popular path, and under the EU pressures, individuals labeled as pro-Russian have been excluded from the ministerial positions. The anti-popular course of the current regime is perhaps best illustrated by its intention to give the General Staff building the state-protected structure bomb during the NATO's aggression to Jared Kushner, son-in-law of Donald Trump. Furthermore, the government plans to hand over land in Western Serbia to the British-Australian company Rio Tinto for lithium extraction with a 4% royalty over 99 years, effectively turning Serbia into a mining colony of the EU. Lithium is, of course, a strategic mineral in the EU's competition with China over electric vehicle production. These are just two examples of the government's several policy toward Western imperialism. Another major threat from this government is the ongoing rebranding of the United States in Serbian media. A dangerous campaign is being promoted that portrays Donald Trump as an anti-establishment figure and a defender of Serbian interests. even though he imposed 37 tariffs on Serbian goods and maintained the same foreign policy towards Serbia as all prior US administrations. Our party also faces intense anti-communist propaganda, not only from regime media, but from the highest levels of government, including the president himself. In one regime-run television broadcast, our comrade Vukašin Žunić, a member of our youth organization secretariat, was publicly targeted with vicious lies about him and our organization. Yet, the task before all progressive forces in our country is not to conduct a principled and determined anti-imperialist struggle. We must campaign relentlessly against the NATO and the European Union. Furthermore, all progressive forces in the Balkans must unite in opposition to NATO's war monitoring policies and push for its expulsion from the region. The Balkans cannot be free while NATO remains. A NATO-free Balkans would give our peoples the chance, the voluntary unit to develop together, because only through alliances can small nations divided and defeated against each other by NATO protect themselves. Small, quarrelsome nations are easy prey, and NATO thrives on those conflicts to justify its presence. For that reason, we repeat once more, the Balkans must belong to the Balkan people. NATO must lead. In this spirit, the duty of all progressive forces in the Balkans and worldwide is to build a united front against the Western imperialism. Today, as contradictions emerge within the imperialist system itself, we must seize the moment to assert our political life. We must be conscious of the specific conditions in each country and adapt our tactics accordingly, but our strategy must remain clear. Unwavering support for all anti-imperialist forces engaged in struggle against Western imperialism. Thank you.